I spent years taking care of my sister and sacrificing my career for her. I recently found out she faked her illness, and now I'm cutting her out of my life. Did I do the right thing? Hi Reddit, I'm 30 years old, and I've been dealing with a very toxic family dynamic for a long time. I'm hoping you can me some perspective, because I'm still processing everything, and I'm unsure if I made the right decision, though I've always been the responsible one in my family. Growing up, I was the good daughter, focused on my education, working hard, and trying to do everything right. My older sister Julia has always had a difficult time with responsibility. She was rebellious, and things never seemed to go well for her, especially after she became a mother. A couple of years ago, Julia had baby Ethan, and shortly after giving birth, she claimed to have postpartum depression. I believed her at first, because it seemed like she was really struggling, but things didn't add up. My parents started prioritizing her needs over mine, and I ended up putting my career on hold, care for Ethan, clean their house, and run errands. Old Julia's depression seemed to become an excuse for everything. She didn't have to lift a finger, and I was left to pick up all the pieces. At work, I was given the opportunity to move up in my career. I had the chance to be promoted to a new office in Colorado, which would have been a big step for me. But when I told my family about the opportunity, my mom immediately dismissed it, saying, "Julia is struggling with Ethan. You're the only one who can help her." I felt torn, but I agreed to put my own dreams aside for the sake of my family. Unlike I moved back home to help, even though it felt like a never-ending cycle of taking care of everyone else while neglecting my own needs. It started wearing on me. When I asked Julia if she planned on getting better and being more involved, she would deflect or make excuses. Now I got to the point where I was financially supporting her as well, paying for groceries and bills. Then I started noticing things that didn't add up. Julia would leave the house for hours on end, going out with friends while I stayed home with Ethan. She bought new clothes, went shopping, and posted on social media about hard life was for her, yet there was no evidence of her being sick. I felt confused and angry, but I couldn't put the pieces together until one day I overheard a conversation between Julia and her friend, Melissa, and they were talking about how Julia was playing the postpartum depression card to get out of responsibilities, and that she had been faking it the whole time. That was the moment I snapped. I confronted Julia, and she tried to deny everything. But I had already seen the evidence. I went straight to my parents, told them everything, and demanded an apology for all the years of neglect. They defended Julia, and I was saying that I was being harsh and didn't understand what she had been through. They even went as far as to say, "You should be more supportive, and all this is your family." But the final straw came when I found out that Julia had been spending money recklessly, while I had been paying for her bills and groceries. It became clear that she had manipulated me and my parents for years. I decided to confront them all into money. I had given her back $36,000 in total. I couldn't let it slide anymore. And that the Julia and my parents reluctantly agreed to pay me back, but damage was done. I felt completely betrayed. But I've cut all ties with Julia and my parents. I no longer feel guilty for putting myself first. But part of me still wonders if I did the right thing. I've given so much to my family, and now it feels like it's all been a lie. And did I overact? Am I wrong for cutting them out of my life completely? First updating. And I can't thank everyone enough for your kind and thoughtful responses. It's been really comforting to hear that I'm not crazy or overreacting. I've been struggling with guilt, and reading through your comments has made me realize that I'm not the one in the wrong here. After I confronted my family and demanded the repayment, things have been tense. My parents have tried to contact me, but I've ignored their messages. I feel so betrayed that I can't even talk to them right now. My mom sent me a message saying that I'm tearing the family apart. But I just can't bring myself to care anymore. And they let Julia manipulate them. And I've had enough. I've also been focusing more on my career. If I did apply for a transfer to Colorado and got the promotion, I'm so excited for this new chapter in my life. But there's still this emotional weight that I'm carrying. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive my family for the way they treated me. Some of you asked if I've considered talking to Julie again or trying to reconcile. Honestly, I don't think I can. The betrayal I feel is just too deep. She lied to me, manipulated me, and caused so much damage to my emotional well-being. I don't think I can go back to a relationship with her, especially after everything she did. Second updating. It's been a couple of months since my last post, and I'm in a much better place now. How would the legal proceedings for the money I was owed have gone through? And I've received the full repayment from my parents and Julia. It's a relief, but honestly, the money doesn't make up for everything I went through. The God of Ethel, I've started selling into my new life in Colorado, and it feels like a fresh start. I'm loving my new job and meeting new people. I have been able to focus on my own growth, something I haven't done in years. The stress of dealing with my family has started to lift, and I'm finally feeling like I'm in control of my own life. I haven't heard from Julia or my parents since the repayment was made. I'm not sure if I'll ever speak to them again, but I'm okay with that now. And my relationship with Ethan is still intact. I've been keeping in touch with him and trying to be a positive role model, but the rest of my family is out of my life for good. Many of you have asked if I'm seeing a therapist. Yes, I started therapy a few weeks ago, and it's been incredibly helpful. I'm learning how to process the trauma of emotional manipulation and familial betrayal, and I'm starting to rebuild my self-worth. Her therapy is helping me find peace with my decision to cut ties. Final updating, it's been almost a year since I left everything behind, and I'm finally starting to feel free. My life is so much better without the toxicity of my family. I'm thriving in my career, my personal relationships are stronger than ever, and I'm building a future that I'm proud of. The legal battle was tough, but it was worth it. The moment I realized I didn't need to keep apologizing or making excuses for my family was life-changing, and I've learned that I'm not responsible for their behavior behavior, and I don't need their approval to live my life. I haven't had any contact with Julia or my parents, and I don't plan on it. I've come to terms with the fact that they'll never change, and I'm okay with walking away from them, finally at peace with myself, and that's something I've never had before. I thank you to everyone who offered support and advice. It meant more to me than you'll ever know, and I'm excited about what the future holds, and for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm living for me.